Hey guys, Carl from Purple Moose Plays. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Moving Pictures and its sequel, Moving Pictures Dinosaur Outbreak, both from designer Chris Klimowski and publisher Buttone Games. This is another 18-card wallet game from Buttone that is originally designed as a two-player hidden information co-op game in which you're laying down cards or taking turns laying down cards to sort of put the scenes of a movie in order. As a strictly two-player game, this is one that I initially overlooked because I tend to only play solo games, or at least I'm always on the lookout for games that at least have a solo mode in them, and this one didn't. So I didn't really pay much attention to it aside from the fact that it looked interesting to me. And then, lucky for me and lucky for us solo players, Mike Mullins, designer extraordinaire for all of these great Buttone solo sort of spin-offs or variants, was nice enough to put out a solo mode for this game. And I was also lucky enough to grab a copy of this, a review copy of both of these from the publisher so I can check out that solo mode myself. Disclaimer, that does mean I was given these as review copies from the publisher, but as always, I will do my best to give you my own honest opinion at the end of this video. But with that being said, let's head down to the table to see, actually I'm going to play both of these separately. You can see the solo mode for both of these, see how it's played, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. Before we set up the game, I just want to remind you that for this video, I will be playing through twice. First with the original game, Moving Pictures, and then with the sort of expansion / standalone sequel, Moving Pictures Dinosaur Outbreak. But the basic rules for both games are exactly the same. There are just some slightly different cards in the second set, and I want you to be able to see those. So I'm going to go ahead and explain how the rules work, get into the playthrough of Moving Pictures, and then I'll transition right away into the next game of Dinosaur Outbreak as well. To set up a solo game of Moving Pictures, begin by taking the 16 scene cards, giving them a shuffle, and for the first round you're going to lay out 6 cards in the center of the table, like this. And then you're going to give yourself 3 cards and your sort of automated partner 3 cards as well. The 3 cards you take for yourself will be dealt face up, and the cards that are dealt for the automated partner will be dealt face down. So we'll do it like this. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 3. And then the rest of the scene cards are simply placed off to the side. And finally, to complete setup, we're going to take the 2 deleted scene cards and we'll set those off to the side down here in case we need them. So this is all now set up for gameplay. Moving Pictures will be playing out over 3 rounds. This is the first round setup that you see right here. The second round will be 7 cards here with 4 cards for your partner and 3 for yourself. And the third round would be 8 cards here in the middle with 4 cards for both you and your partner. But you'll see how that works as we get into the next rounds. But each round is going to play out taking turns with your cards and then the partner's cards back and forth like so on. And the point is to get these 6 cards, meaning the 6 cards in your hand, placed out into these 6 positions or 6 locations such that they are increasing in value from the left to the right side. Now they don't need to be sequential because some of the cards are still, as I said, off here in the deck. Some of the cards are going to be face down here representing locations only, and we're only playing with these 6 cards. But ultimately these 6 cards need to be in ascending order from left to right across these 6 locations. And we're going to take turns placing out cards, and I can place the card anywhere that I'd like to as long as there aren't any restrictions in play at the time. And then at the bottom of the card you'll see there's some kind of ability. Some of the abilities are going to say when played, and obviously then they will trigger when that card is played into this row in the center of the screen. And some of these cards are going to have this sort of editing symbol right here. The editing abilities will happen at the end of the round after all 6 cards have been played and will allow us to manipulate the cards in different ways. Now, as this is normally a 2-player game, some of the cards in your hand will say that you can reveal a card. Because normally in the multiplayer game, you're playing with your cards hidden from your partner and trying to make smart plays into the center, trying to get the cards in order. But as the AI can't really see anything that I'm playing, it means nothing to show the card or reveal the card to my AI partner. So any card that says reveal on it will allow me to look at any two cards in this row, sort of eliminating cards that I know can't be played this round because they're placed face down here. Also, some of the cards will say your partner can do something. But my partner doesn't have a brain in this case, and it's always going to be controlled by me. So any ability that says your partner will allow me to flip over one of my partner's cards to see what that card is. And I reveal that card of my partner's card before placing my card, so I do get a little bit more information before I place out my cards. And on my turn, that's simply how it's going to work. I'm going to place my card in one of these locations, triggering the ability if it's a when played ability, or waiting until the end of that round to play the edit abilities. And then on my partner's turn, I'm simply going to choose one of their three cards, and then I will be able to choose where it gets placed and also activate the abilities. You see, the difference is I just can't see what those cards are, so I need to sort of be planning for what those cards could be as we move forward. And likewise, if my partner's card has the reveal or your partner text written on the card, I'm simply going to be able to reveal another one of my partner's cards to see what that is. But right now, I don't have any of those abilities. We're starting with a 4, a 2, and a 10. And I'll show you quickly what the abilities on these cards show. This is an edit ability that says I may swap this card with the card directly to its left. This 2 has an edit ability that says I must swap this card with a higher numbered card. And this 10 here says you may swap this card with the card directly to its right. All right, so I am going to place this 2 here because I must swap it with a higher number card. I have no idea what the highest number card is here. It could be my 10 if these are all lower than 10, or these could all be higher. But if I put the 2 there, it's safe because I can then place the higher numbered card where I think the 2 should be and then swap that in the editing phase at the end of the round. All right, so then we take an partner's card. All right, here we go. They've got a 14 that says, when played, you may point to another card in the movie and copy its when played effect. Well, there are no other cards in the movie yet that have a when played effect, so that doesn't help me. So I simply need to place this. Now I could assume that 14 is the highest card. The highest possible card is a 16. So the 14 could go here, hoping for a 15, 16 to come out there. The same thing with the 2, I could have a 1. So there could be a 1, in which case this needs to be a 2. But if there's no 1, then this needs to be the 2. So I'm going to place the 14 here and hope that there's no 1. Then, let's see. This gets to swap with the card to its left. Means if there's a higher number, I can swap it. All right, if I put a 5 or a 6 or a 7 or an 8 there, we can swap like that. Let's put this here on the off chance that the 2 does need to come here and or there's a 3. This does not have a when played, so we stop there. Sorry, before we move on, I did forget to mention these 2 deleted scene cards. These are going to be sort of our fail-safes. If for some reason we are not able to put everything in ascending order, we can use the deleted scenes to effectively cancel a card, making it so that any other cards ascending in order except for that card still count for that round. And if we can't do that, the round ends and we don't have the cards in order, we instantly lose the game. So we do have to make good use of these 2 deleted scenes cards to help us sort of make it to the end without not succeeding in ordering our movie. So the next card I'm taking is this one, which is a 3. And the 3 says, when played, you may move another card to an empty space. Well, right now I don't know of any cards that need to be moved, so I am going to put the 3 there, hoping that we get 2, 3, 4. Then the 14 goes here. The problem is I don't know what the 10 is. But the 10 can swap with the card to its right. So if I put the 10 there, and this is higher than a 10, we're okay. If it's lower than a 10, we'll just swap them, and then that's okay, except the 14 is the one that bothers me a little bit. So let's cross our fingers and see what happens. And we get an 8. We got super lucky. Except that the 8 must be swapped with a non-adjacent card. Okay. Then, we're going to have to be smart about this. We do place the 8 there. Then, we've got to put these in order. 2 has to switch with a higher numbered card. If I swap the 10 and the 8, no, I need to figure out a way to swap the 8 somewhere and then swap it back again. Okay, let's do this. The 4 and the 8. So the 4 says, we have to do these in order anyway. So we're going to start with the 2. You must swap this card with a higher numbered card. The 2 and the 14 switch. We're good. Then 4. You may swap this card with a card directly to its left. I don't like it. Yeah, I don't want to do that because that's going to put the 3 in the wrong place and I can't get it back again. All right, so we are going to have to use one deleted scene because 8's going to swap with a non-adjacent card. Hold on. If that swaps with the one to its left, that's 4, 3. Then, no, it's not going to work. Okay, so 4 doesn't do anything. 8 is going to swap with, either way, it doesn't matter. Let's swap with the 4. And then the 10 is going to swap with that 4, not that it matters. Because unfortunately, we are going to have to use a deleted scene on that one right there. So we've got 2, 3, 8, 10, 14, and we clear the first round. But that deleted scene is now removed from the game. I'll set it up here just to remember that we used it already. We have one deleted scene left and 2 more rounds to get through. So let's reset for the next round. So again, for the second round, we are laying out 7 cards. And then for this round, the AI is going first, so they're going to get 1 extra card. So they get 4 cards and we get 3. They will go first. Those cards go off the side like that. And they're going to go first, but let me take a look at what's in my hand before we take a look at what we're going to do with their card. First, I have a 1. So I know that that 1 must go in that slot. But this 1 says you must play this card to an empty space directly to the left of another card. It means I need to have something there if I want to put the 1 there. 15 says if this card is in your hand, you may reveal it. Which means we're going to be able to look at 2 of these cards in just a minute. Then we've got the 6, which during the editing phase can be flipped upside down to make it a 9 instead, which is pretty useful. But let's go ahead and use this 15 to peek at 2 more cards. And I'll just peek at these and 2. So 8 and 2. We know there's no 8, there's no 2. So that can be a 3 at the very lowest. And we're going to start here with a 9. It's worth mentioning here that this is a 9 and this could be a 9. A 9, 9 in order counts as sequential for passing the round, so that would be perfectly okay. And 9 says, when played, you can move a face-down card to another position. Unfortunately, as the first card, that doesn't mean anything, but basically we could take like this, for example, and move it to the other end of the movie if we wanted to. So we need to place a 9. I know I've got a 1. I know I've got a 6, a 15. The 15 is going to be up here in one of these top 2 because 16 is the highest. So assuming 15, I'm going to place 9 in the middle or higher. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 7 numbers higher than 9. And there's 8 numbers lower. That's pretty centered. Let's put 9 right there in the middle. And then we saw an 8 and we saw a 2. Means there's no 8. So between 6 and 9 is just 7. So if there's a 7, we can flip this to become a 9. So I will play that right there. They take their turn. 5. All right, well, we could be in trouble if we've got a 2, 3, 4 in those cards because that 1 is going to go there. 5 says when played, you may reveal another card from your hand. So I get to see another card from there. There's my 16. Great. Well, the 5 has to go there for sure. Which means I can play my 1 there and it belongs there, so that's great. I know 15 goes here now. I know 16 goes here now. But if I put a 16 there now, it says the star ability, while this card is in the movie, I can't use any when played effects. And I might need to move something around using this card. So let's take a look and see what this card is. 10. We got super lucky. 10 is an edit again that says you may swap with the card to the right. I don't need to because 10 goes there. My 15 goes there, and that 16 goes there, and we didn't use any abilities. 1, 5, 6, 9, 10, 15, 16. We have cleared the second round. So let's go ahead and set up for the third and final round again with 8 cards to start. All right, so here we are with the 8 cards, and this time I'm going first again. We both get 4 cards. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 4, and we do still have 1 deleted scene left if we need it. And I've got 3, 5, 8, 9. 3 says, when played, I can move another card to an empty space. So I want to save that until we need to move things around. 5, when played, you may reveal another card from your hand. Means I get to look at 2 out there. 8, you must swap with a non-adjacent card. So I got to put that either high or low and hopefully switch to the middle somewhere. And 9, when played, I can move another face-down card to a different position. Don't want to do that yet. So let's play 5. I've got this 3. I'm going to play the 5 here. And I'm going to reveal the 2 end cards just because. There's a 1. There's a 2. All right, great. So we know that 3 goes here. Means if there's a 4, we put it there. Otherwise, that 5 needs to move over. But we can use the 3 to do that if we need to. They've got a 7. And I've got an 8, 9. And there's a 5. It says, when played, your partner may move this card to an empty space to its left or right. Again, if it says your partner, I get to flip over and see another one. There's a 10. Wow, we got lots of in a row numbers. 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to hope for no 6. So I'm going to put that 7 right there. The 8 needs to be swapped with something. So I'm going to put the 8 high up here. They take their turn. A 6. All right, now we're going to need to move something. But it also says you may rotate this card upside down to make it a 9. So if I got 7, 8, 9, 9, 10, that's a problem. Put that there. That needs to be an 8. Whatever goes here, I need to put the 10 there. I'm going to put that 6 there. My turn. I'm putting a 3 here, and it says I can move a card somewhere. I don't want to. My biggest worry is to figure out what that is. And that's what I'm going to do right now. That's a 16. All right, so this has to go there. And the problem is now this 9 screws everything up. Ah, this is going to be awesome. To its right. Okay. That's a problem. Because this 16 gets rid of the 9 ability that I wanted to use, which was to move this somewhere else. Rotate that, swap with a non-adjacent card. So I gotta put the 16 there. Which means I need to play my 9, but we're just gonna have to use the deleted scene. That's okay. The 6 was the mistake. I should have moved that 5 over. Anyway, okay. Then we will play a 9 there, the 10 there, and we go through 6. If I want to flip it, I do. I will. 8, swap with a non-adjacent card, like that. And 10 can swap with the card to the right, which does nothing for me. We're going to need to delete that scene 10, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 9, 16. We do clear the third round, but I did have to use both of my deleted scenes. But with that, we are successful at defeating the game or beating the game. So let's move on to the second playthrough using the Dinosaur Outbreak cards. Again, the game is going to play out exactly the same way as what you just saw, but there are some slightly different kinds of cards that you're going to see as we play through, and I'll show those to you and explain them to you as we get into gameplay. All right, so to set up our first round of Dinosaur Outbreak the same way as we did before, we're going to start by placing out 6 cards on the table. And then as before, we start out as the first player, and we're both getting 3 cards to start. The rest of those go off the screen. And we do have 2 deleted scenes, again, like we did in the first game, but the deleted scenes work a little bit differently here now. Before, we could just use them whenever we wanted to in any location, but now we've got 1 through 6 can be used this card. So 1 through 8, we can use this card to get rid of. And then this card here can only be used to get rid of scenes 9 through 16. So we do have 2 of them, but they can only be used once each for low numbers and high numbers, which make things a little bit more difficult. All right, then we are starting off first player. I've got 3, 2, and 16. Let's take a look at what they do. Number 3 says, I may not play this card if I have any even numbered cards in my hand, which I do. So I got to get rid of all my cards before that one gets played. 2 says, when played, I can swap 2 other cards in the movie, which is not helpful right now. But the only other card I have is 16, which is horrible. Because the 16, I know where it goes, but once I play it, it says, while this card is in the movie, all cards must be played to the rightmost empty space, which means I basically have to just keep filling in from the right, and that's no good. But I have to play this before I play the 3, which is sad. So, to start off, I'm going to assume they don't have a 1. They might, I'm going to hope they don't. So we're going to play that 2, which is sad because I don't get, no, I said they don't have a 1. I don't get to swap things, unfortunately. They play their first card, which is a 4. It says I must swap this card with a card 1 or 2 spaces away. So if this is 3, this should be 4. I'm going to put 4 here or here. And yes, it doesn't really matter except that this is a 3. Yeah, we'll play it there. Then my 16 has to go here. So now whatever I draw next goes in that spot, regardless of what it is. Which means it may have been a mistake to put the 4 there instead of... Yeah, you know what? I knew that was coming. This is not cheating. This 4 must swap with a card 1 or 2 spaces away. I know the 3 goes there, so let's put the 4 there to be safe. That way we have some more possibility to manipulate things after this 16 is played. Hold on a minute. Yeah, whatever. Let's see what happens. They get a 15, which is perfect because it has to get played there. When you play it, you may move a face-down card to another position. I don't need to because that 15 goes right there. It's fine. The problem is this 3 has to go there. So I really hope I have something that will swap with that 3. And we see what happens. It is a 10. And it says I must, oh, this is perfect. You must swap this card with a card that is not 1 or 16. Okay, great. Then, we're going to swap the 4 first. We're going in order. 4 comes first and then 10. So 4 must swap with a card 1 or 2 spaces away. Does that. And then the 10 must swap with something that's not 1 or 16, which is perfect. It does that. 2, 3, 4, 10, 15, and 16. We successfully win the first round. And we set up for the second round. All right, so here we are with 7 cards. Again, the AI or the automated partner is going first. They get 4 cards, and I get 3. Those go off to the side. And here we have the other new piece for the Dinosaur Outbreak version of the game. I'm going to show you my cards. I got a 14, 7, and 3. And this icon here on the 14 is that other new piece of this game. And these are reshoot effects. These effects will not take place when I play the card. Later on, anytime during my turn or the partner's turn, I can tip this to the side to activate what that says. So this says I can look at the face down card in the space of this 14, and I can swap it with a card in my hand that doesn't have a star. The 7 is an editing card that lets me swap with any odd numbered card. And the 3 we saw before says I cannot play this if I have any even numbered cards in my hand. So that means this 14 has to go out before the 3, but the other person is going first. So we've got 15. 15 says when played I can move a face down card to another position. That doesn't mean anything because it's the first card. I'm going to assume there's no 16, and if there is, we'll fix it later. And that means the 14 goes there. And they take their turn with a 1. The 1 says, while this card is in the movie, ignore all when played and reshoot effects. Well, that's going to be really bad, because now we can't do much manipulation of anything. I'm going to hope for no 2. There's no more even cards in my hand, so I can play this 3, and I'll play it right there. We've got a 13. Which says I can swap this with an even numbered card. I don't have any need to do that, so we're going to play that 13 right there. And hope this is between 3 and 13. It's not. Great. There's my 16. And it says while this card is in the movie, all cards must be played to the rightmost empty space. Well, it's not going to matter anyway because that goes there. That goes there. 1, 3, 7, 16, 13, 14, 15. Then, if I swap the 7 and the 13, no, there's no way for me to do this. 13 and 16 swap. Yeah, no, that's okay. The 7 can swap with an odd numbered card. The 13 can swap with an even numbered card, but there's no way for me to get the 16 down there and keep everything shifted over. So we do stop there, and I'm going to have to use my deleted scene for high numbered cards to kill that 16, which means we do win the second round. That card goes bye-bye, and we reset for the third and final round. All right, so here we've got 8 cards. I'm going first again. We both get 4 cards. We do have 1 deleted scene, but remembering that it's only good for 1 through 8. So if I'm going to make a mistake, it has to happen in low numbers. I've got the 3 that won't be played. If I have even number, which is 10, is the only even number I've got. The 10 lets me swap this card with any number except for 1 or 16. Sorry, not lets me. I must swap this with any number that's not 1 or 16. The 9, when played, I can reveal the lowest number in my hand, which means I get to look at 2 cards out there. And the 11 lets me move something except itself to somewhere else that's empty. And I am going first. And the 10 can swap with a card that's not 1 or 16. So I'm just going to drop the 10 like there. Because I can swap it with something later. I know there's a 3, but I don't know what's low else in here. The AI gets a 12. The 12 says your partner may swap this card with a card in their hand. I can't use that, so I get to look at another card, which is a 2. So we've got 2, 3, and we've got 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to assume that there's something higher than a 12. And then I will play the 9. Sorry, that's not a 9. The 11, no. 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to play the 9, which lets me reveal, which means I look at 2 cards. I will look at this one as a 14. This one is an 8. All right, so there's no 8 and there's no 14. Means there could be up here 13, 15, 16. They take their turn. Ah, that hurts, kind of. 16 again means everything has to be played in the rightmost spot, but that's fine right here, 16. This might actually work out. Then I'm going to play the 11 in the rightmost spot. They're going to play this 13 in the rightmost spot, which says I can swap it with an even numbered card. All right, well, we have to play it there. But let's figure this out. I can only get hurt with a 1 through 8 in the wrong spot. If I move this 13, hold on a minute. When played to 2, I can swap anything. All right, well, I'm going to put the 13 there. The 10 swaps. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to keep the 13 there. I have to because the 16's here. And I'm not moving anything right yet. Then the 3 gets played there because it has to. Now this 2 is going to let me swap 2 things. So I need to put the 9, 10. Where does the 2 go? The 2 has to go where this is. If I put a 2 here, no. If I move the 13 here, I put the 2 there, 2, 3, 9, 10. So that 9 has to go there. 9, 10 is fine. 13 goes here. If I put a 2 there, those are fine. Oh yeah, that's easy. Okay, so the 2 goes there, and I get to swap anything I want to. Those 2 swap like that. Watch this. Now we're done for the editing phase. We start with the 10. I have to swap with something that's not 1 or 16. The 9 and 10 swap. Good. And then the 13 may swap with an even numbered card. The 12 and the 13 swap. And we've got 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16. We survive with 1 deleted scene left, which is better than our previous game. And that is the second playthrough. So at this point in my videos, I usually take a look at the components. All of the components you've seen, meaning most of the components are the cards. I'm not going to pull the other cards out because they have been put away, but I do really love the look of these cards. These sort of colored, these are black and white to make the deleted scenes obviously separate. These sort of colored film strips on the back, these sort of sketchy, storyboarded kind of look to the design of the scenes. There's a description of each scene up in the top corner. For example, this one says, external street, early evening. Through the swarming dinosaurs, Edgar spies the old radio tower atop the skyscraper at the center of town. Right? There's really cool writing that does thematically go with the pictures, and the pictures are very much storyboard style, that you are sort of storyboarding or building out the sequence of scenes in your story or in your movie. Just thematically, it looks really cool. It plays out really cool as far as the components go. We'll talk more about this in the gameplay in just a minute. But the way that everything looks in this game is really, really nice. The only other thing are the wallets. These are the 2 wallets. They are pure white. I do like that quite a bit. They are very striking. It does sort of pop with the color on the white. My only concern is that the white might get discolored as they get older, but is that really an issue? They are vinyl. They will probably clean pretty well as long as they're not stained. I do love the logo of the camera. The font that's chosen here is nice. The color differences are nice. The green definitely represents dinosaur. This dino part is a little bit tricky to read with this font that they've chosen, but it definitely does say Dinosaur Outbreak. It could have been fun over here somewhere to have like a dinosaur paw, hoof, I don't know what the dinosaur footprint over there, or something else that was dinosaur logo thematic with the camera on the opposite corner, but realistically they look nice. Again, the color on the white background pops. I do really enjoy the look of both of these wallets. With all that said, meet me back up top and let's talk about what I think about the game and the expansion. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthroughs. This again is a game that I was initially interested in and overlooked because it was 2-player only, and now there's a solo mode, and now I've played the solo mode, and boy have I played the solo mode. This is a game that I brought out to the table and immediately played 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just kept playing, going back and forth. Base game, dinosaur, base game, dinosaur. I have played a ton of this game and I enjoy every minute of it. This is a game that it started off as a hidden information game, and it still kind of is with the sort of solo mode AI partner that you're playing with in this, because you don't see their cards and you do see your cards, and you're trying to figure out the best way to get those cards into order for the movie in each of the 3 rounds, getting bigger and bigger as you go along. And there's quite a lot of fun here. And yes, it is a hidden information game. It is something that might remind you of games like Hanabi or The Game or even The Mind, right? But this one, to me, because of the way that it plays out, not just sequential cards going down like you'd see in The Game or in The Mind or in Hanabi, but that sequence is being laid out on a tableau on the table. And what that means is this game is another spatial puzzler game. And as you know from me, I love spatial puzzler games. And here we go again. Because this game ultimately, yes, it's about putting things out in the right order. And yes, in order to win, you have to put them in the right order. But ultimately, this game is about manipulating those cards, especially in the solo mode, because there is no second player who's intelligently playing cards. It is me. I'm leaving spaces for cards that I expect might come out. I'm sort of taking guesses, educated guesses about where I should play my cards and how I can fit in other cards, and then ultimately, more importantly, how I can manipulate all of the cards to make sure that they end up in the right places. And that's what makes this game so much fun. This isn't a spatial puzzler where things are sort of scoring based on where they're adjacent, but it is important to have them in the right place. And the ability to have cards that when you play rearrange things, and then later on to have cards that trigger at the end of the round to rearrange things, and sometimes are required to rearrange things at the end of the round. And then in the Dinosaur Outbreak, we'll talk more about that as an expansion in a minute, but then in the Dinosaur Outbreak, you've got those abilities that trigger later, not when you play the card, but in future turns to rearrange things and make these puzzle or make this sort of spatial display the way that you need it to be in order to get to the next stage. And I really, really love the way that these are working and interacting and manipulating each other as you're playing, because it really does make you think and plan. If I put this here and then I put this here, well, then I can swap those and I'm safe, because I don't know what's in between those. But if I plan this here and then this gets high, I can swap this way, or this gets low, I can swap that way. And it really, really does lead to this interesting planning, tactical decision. Oh, this card came out, now what? That changes everything I was thinking. Or you saw this card gets played, and now that means I got to play the rest of the cards this way, or I don't get to activate the abilities, and so on. And these puzzles and this, can I slot it in the right spot to start with, or do I slot it into weird places and then rearrange everything so that it fits at the end? Every time you play, it's going to play out differently. There's only 16 cards that you're playing with, but because of the order of things and because of how certain cards play off other cards, it really does play out differently every time. And I continue to really, 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 really enjoy this game quite a bit. And then now with the AI, yes, granted with another player, there's still an element of push your luck, but with the AI, there's an even more level of push your luck. And if you don't like the random luck kind of stuff, this might not be as great a solo mode for you, because there is definitely luck there. But there's a whole lot of planning and a whole lot of manipulation you can do to mitigate that luck that's coming out. But ultimately, it's still fun that you set up this thing and you've got a perfect slot that if the card falls between these 3 or 4 numbers, it fits, and you flip over the card and look at that, it slots right into that slot, and yay, it's perfect. You get these really great cheerable moments. Or you flip over a card and you say, ah, that just ruined everything. But then a light bulb goes off and you say, well, if I slot this and I slot this and I flip this and I turn that, it works anyway. And it's these cool connective puzzle solutions that really make you feel smart or clever, or just really make you cherish the wins and the celebratory sort of completion of goals kind of thing that happens in this game as you're playing. And it's exactly those feelings that keep coming back every time that I play that makes me want to play this game even more. Now, with the expansion, it does add those later trigger cards, which is great because it gives you some more sort of planning for the future, because there are cards when you play, when played, activate an ability. Well, if you play that at the beginning of the game, then nothing happens, and that's a wasted ability, and that's just the way that it is. Especially in the solo mode, when the AI is going to play a card at the beginning of the round on the second round before you've played anything at all, and it can't do anything if it's a when played ability, having those later trigger abilities is great because I can play a card and then later on activate that to do something, and that's really cool to add. But then with that, you get those 2 new deleted scenes that are more specific about how you can use them, and it does up the difficulty just that little bit more. Now, the other thing you can do that I haven't had a chance to do yet because I've been enjoying both of these on their own is you can mix up the cards. So you can choose one of each number, so either 1, either 2, either 3, either 4, and mix them up, and that adds a whole nother level, yeah, that's bad English, another whole level of decisions or weird combinations or interactions of these cards that can come out, and the different 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s and the different way that they combine with each other. It really, really, really works, and this is a game that I could see expanding and expanding and expanding, coming out with different, sci-fi set and fantasy set and historical war set and just different movie genres. This game is a whole lot of fun, and this is one I'll absolutely be holding on to, and I cannot wait to try it out multiplayer because it seems like it'll be a whole lot of fun that way as well. As always, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful. If you did enjoy it, I ask as always to please remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.